what does weed actually do for you? Like, honestly, like, what does actually do for you? Unless you're some medical user, you need it for chronic pain or whatever. If you're just a recreational user, what does it actually do? Like, if you're a daily or nearly daily user, how does it actually help you? How does it actually improve your life? Like, really be honest with yourself, not just like, oh, it helps me relax, bro. Like, does it really help you relax? Because I think weed makes you performative. It makes you like fake deep. You think you're learning something so profound. You think you're having these amazing thoughts or connecting to a higher consciousness or whatever, but really you're just stuck in your head 90% of the time, just like sitting on the couch staring at your phone or something. You're going on this whole mental journey, this experience that you won't even remember when you wake up tomorrow. For me, I always feel lazier on the days after consuming it. I feel like my brain is just half asleep, like I'm just in a daze. I've got brain fog for the next 1 or 2 days. And it's like, was that really worth it? Like, I feel like shit the day afterwards. Like, I don't know. I don't think so. Because it's like you don't end up doing anything productive or useful. Sometimes you think like, oh man, I'm going to like get some work done or whatever. But then it's like I said, you just end up sitting there and doing nothing. And it's like, how is this actually adding to my life? How is this actually benefiting me? Is this actually helping me? Or is it hindering me? Is it holding me back from actually accomplishing my goals and actually living the life that I want to live? Like, we need to ask ourselves these things. Like, it makes you, like I said, stuck in your head all day. And if you're stuck in your head all day, you're just thinking. You have nothing to think about. You have nothing to pay attention to except your thoughts. Like, you can't actually live your life in real reality if you're just thinking all day, right? And then you start doing this on a regular basis, right? And then that leads to loss of discipline, loss of willpower, memory loss in the short term, right? Like I said, you're in that daze, you're in that brain fog. It's like you're enjoying a beautiful sunny day and then you consume this stuff and then now you're it's like really cloudy, it's really foggy, and it's like, oh, what was I gonna do? Like, what's going on? And so then it makes things like dieting or semen retention or just things that require a certain level of discipline and willpower, makes those things that much harder. And then it leads to you beating yourself up and feeling like a failure because you keep going and through the same cycle of wanting to do better for yourself, but then you just consume this shit and then you feel stagnant and unproductive, that you don't do anything, and then you just go back and forth like a pendulum, or like a cycle of addiction. So this is what I call the addiction cycle. Literally, you consume whatever vice it is. Maybe it's weed, maybe it's gambling, maybe it's doom scrolling, maybe it's alcohol, porn, whatever it is for you, right? You consume it and then you get this temporary high, you get this spike of dopamine. But then what happens is your body wants to be in balance, your brain wants to be in hormonal balance, homeostasis. So if your dopamine spikes up really high, now it's going to crash, it's going to go back down because it wants to be in a state of balance. If it went too far up, it's going to go back down and back and forth until it stabilizes. So you get this temporary high, but then you feel bad afterwards, you crash. And that crash, that leads to tension, anxiety, feeling bad, right? And then so you start getting more cravings because you feel bad, you feel shitty. And it's like, well, I want to feel good again. I want to feel that temporary high that I just felt before. So then your brain gives you all these cravings and then you go back to the vice, you go back to the same thing. And then it starts to cycle all over again. That's why I call it the addiction cycle. And then when you realize, hey, this isn't really serving me, this isn't really helping me, then you try and quit. But if you try and quit and you relapse, then this leads to a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. Like I said, beating yourself up, self-judgment. That makes this whole crash, this whole feeling bad person makes you feel even worse. And that makes the cravings even stronger, and it makes the entire cycle harder to quit. So you end up just living in this cycle where you're not actually achieving anything, you're not actually doing anything, you're not actually being consistent. You might be consistent for a little bit and then you reintroduce weed and then you just go through the addiction cycle again and you feel bad and then you're back to square one again. It's like you just keep stopping and starting. It's like dieting. When you overly restrict your diet and then you binge eat and you ruin all your progress, and they call it yo-yo dieting because you're just going back and forth. You're never actually like moving forward, making progress, making sustainable changes. And eventually you just get sick of repeating the same day over and over. You get sick of just Groundhog Day and doing the same exact thing, and you want to make a change and you want to do something different. You want to actually like live your best life. And you realize that if you want to be your best self, if you want to accomplish all these goals, if you want to live your best life, you have to get rid of this stuff. You have to stop consuming the THC, because if you could live your best life and accomplish your goals with that stuff, you'd have already done it, or you'd be well on track to doing that. You wouldn't even be watching this video. You're watching this video because you already know what I'm saying is true. You already know that you need to quit this stuff in order to be your best version. that this stuff is not aligned with who you are anymore. Like I said, when you drop this stuff, it's like that fog that I mentioned, it goes away. The sunshine returns. In fact, the sunshine was always there. It was just cloudy. The clouds just covered up the sun. But after a few days dropping this stuff, that goes away and you feel this clarity again. You feel this peace. You start to feel this excitement for life. You can finally think clearly, see clearly, actually express yourself, actually feel all your emotions again. You're not so numb to life anymore. But you have to go step by step, because obviously if you've been addicted or you've been using this at a high frequency, you're gonna deal with withdrawals, right? Cold turkey is not going to work, or at least cold turkey is gonna be very difficult. You're gonna have really intense cravings, like I said in the addiction cycle. You're gonna have really intense cravings, and you need to be aware of that and accept that and be okay with that. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to white knuckle it, because what you resist persists. That's just going to make it more difficult. You have to take it slow and just cut back little by little. If you've been doing this every day, try every other day, then every 2 days, every 3 days. Eventually it's once a week, then once every 2 weeks, once every month. You see how it goes. Slowly get off of this stuff until you get to a point where you're just like, I don't even want to do this at all. And it becomes easy to quit because you've gotten used to doing it less often, less often, less often. One of the biggest things is you have to stop thinking about weed. You have to stop identifying as somebody who's trying to quit, because by living in that identity of, oh, I'm trying to quit, that means you're still stuck. That means you're still addicted. That's the identity that you're giving yourself. Is like, I'm someone who still does this, but I'm trying not to. No, you just need to wake up every day like, I don't do this. This isn't who I am. Even if you relapse, even if you go back, it's still not who I am. This is still not what I do. Learn to make that your identity, right? Make that who you are. So every time it happens, it feels worse and worse, but it feels worse in a different way. It feels worse in a way of like, this is not aligned with who I am. Like, why am I even doing this? This is gross. This is not what I do. This is not what I consume. This is not how I treat myself. And then you also need to replace that. We need to do habit replacement, because we were getting a lot of dopamine, right? We were getting a lot of dopamine hits, a lot of pleasure from this stuff. So we need to replace that. And it's not going to be the exact same, because obviously that when you're hitting the card or whatever, you're taking the gummies, you're getting a huge spike, right? And we're not going to get huge spikes like that, but what we are going to get is natural, healthy hits of dopamine from things like exercise, things like socializing, making friends, hanging out, things like actually working and accomplishing our goals, whether that's, starting the business that we want to, whether that's like passing the exam that we've been studying for, going outside and then getting some sunshine, some fresh air, going on a vacation, waking up and seeing the scale moving down. We need to shift our mindset from the pursuit of pleasure to the pleasure of pursuit, the pleasure from achieving our goals, the pleasure from being our best version and building our best life. And again, it's about consistency, not perfection. When the cravings pop up, because they will, it's natural, it's normal. Your brain and your body got used to doing that stuff. Again, just remind yourself of how good it feels to be clear-minded, how good the sunshine feels as opposed to the fogginess. Remind yourself that it's not worth it. It's not worth going back. It's not worth going back and having to restart and build back up a little bit. You don't lose all your progress, if you slip up one time, but it is a bit of a stumble. It is a bit of a step back. And why would you want to make yourself feel that, And once again, don't give so much credence to all those cravings, to all those thoughts. You keep them alive. You keep, weed, you keep an addiction alive in your consciousness when you keep constantly giving it your attention. When you feel those cravings, just let them go. They will pass. They're temporary. It doesn't matter how strong they feel, they will pass, okay? They will pass. They always pass. As long as you stop giving them your attention, you stop keeping them alive. That's how you keep the addictions alive, by constantly thinking about it, by giving it your attention. That's why you need to shift your identity. Instead of someone trying to quit, someone who has quit. You need to operate from that mindset, from that identity. That's going to shape the actions you take. That's going to shape the words you speak to yourself. That's going to shape the thoughts that you indulge in. No, I've already quit. I don't do this anymore. This isn't who I am. I feel better without this. I don't want to be stuck in my head thinking about life. I actually want to be out in reality, living life and making shit happen. So if that's you, I hope this video helped you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what videos you want to see next. Let me know if this helped you. Let me know how your progress is going in this journey. I know I said you need to identify as someone who's quit, but it's still a journey, right? It's still a process. So let me know how you're doing. Let me know if and how I can help. And I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day.